So what's going on with this whole Freddie Freeman thing? I was reading this article on Yahoo written by Hannah Kaiser on Monday, and it basically talked about how hard Freddie Freeman works and how even if he's banged up, even if he's going through a slump, he hates taking days off. He wants to play every single game, which I love. I respect that, I admire that, and really, I'd like guys to be like that for the most part. But then it goes on, and this story has created some buzz, and I think it's mostly because of this part. Freddie doesn't really allow other teammates to take days off. If they're banged up, if they're going through a slump, if they've played 21 games in 21 days, he's going to get on them. He's going to give them crap in the clubhouse for the manager giving them a day off. It's well known, if you get a day off, you're gonna get heat from Freddie in the clubhouse. Huh. What's going on, everybody? I'm Chris Vanell. This is Bold and Braves. You know the drill. We're on Atlanta Sports Unlimited, where if you're not already subscribed, you should be. That's that little red button down below the video. Click that if you have not already. And while you're here, like this video and follow us on social media at Atlanta Sports Unlimited on both Facebook and Twitter, so you can keep up with everything we've got going on. If you're one of those people who hates these old school versus new school debates that are really popular these days, here's your warning. There's gonna be some of that in this video. But here's my take though. I think off days are a very, very good thing. I'm a professional sports journalist at a daily newspaper. I, like most people, am scheduled to work 5 days a week. But oftentimes, just because of the nature of the work and the nature of the business, I'm working 6 days a week, I'm working 7 days a week. 2 of the last 4 weekends, or what were supposed to be weekends, I didn't get any off days. I worked straight through them. And this is not me complaining at all. I understand, number one, this is part of the business. And number two, I'm willing to put in the work to get my stuff done and to make my bosses happy, to put out the best product I can. It just happens. But here's the thing. I feel like when I don't get those off days, if I work 7 days a week and don't get a weekend, my work quality suffers. My articles aren't as good. My pictures, I'm more lackadaisical with it. My interviews, I'm just not really passionate about it. You know, I feel burnt out. But then as soon as I get that 1 or 2 days off, boom, work quality skyrockets. Articles are better. My interviews are better. I just wake up in the morning feeling refreshed. It's like hitting that reset button. You know when your computer's kind of acting up and you don't really know what else to do, you try to turn it off and then back on, you reset it. Sometimes it just needs to be turned off for a second. Sometimes it just needs to rest for a second, and then it's right back to normal. That's the way off days are for me, and that's the way I view them for most people. I'm sure you have felt the same way before. So that brings us to Freddie Freeman and Dansby Swanson, who was a big part of this article on Yahoo. Earlier this month, Dansby Swanson was in a huge slump. He was like 3 for 27 over the course of a week or two. You know, he had played every single day in this season up to that point. And so Braves manager Brian Snitker said, you know what, let's get you a day off. You need to reset. Let's just have you sit back, watch baseball for a day, rest, and send you right back out there tomorrow. Hopefully, you know, that'll kind of reset you. And he ran that by Dansby, and Dansby likes to play every single day. He's admitted that. And Snitker was like, you know, I'm gonna ask you, are you okay with it? Dansby says yes. And then they turn their attention to Freddie Freeman. They actually had Braves people call Freddie Freeman and say, hey, Dansby's getting the day off. Take it easy on him. We know you're going to give him crap in the clubhouse. Don't. He needs this day off. Freddie goes, oh, all right. Next day, walks into the clubhouse. Freddie's just sitting in his locker, and Dansby comes into the clubhouse and says, I've unfortunately not been looking forward to this all day. Meaning seeing Freddie and having this interaction, this first interaction about, oh, I'm taking the day off. I have a day off. This is a guy who hasn't missed a day all year. Number one, why is Freddie involved in this at all? Number two, why even call Freddie? It's just very weird to me. It's very weird to me. And so Snitker came out and was kind of asked about, you know, Freddie and his, shall we say, reluctance to allow him or his teammates to take off days. He said he kind of wills them out there. You know, I think it's good for them. Goes against what a lot of other people think. It's kind of like culture here with the Braves. Well, groupthink isn't always a bad thing. If most of the teams in the league, or most of the league, is doing it one way and thinking one way and acting one way, there's probably a good reason that they're doing that. Especially nowadays with the new research and the new techniques and the new things that we use to keep players healthy and to keep them at the top of their game, the training regimens, the nutrition, the sleep, the rest, etc. Maybe it's best to listen to that. You know, Ron Washington pointed out Chipper Jones as an example. Said, hey, Chipper kind of set the culture, that this is why Freddie acts this way, because Chipper Jones set this culture. Freddie Freeman was brought up next to Chipper Jones. And that is true. Chipper really did help set that culture, kind of ingrained and welcomed Freddie Freeman to the big leagues early in his career, late in Chipper's career. But Chipper Jones never once played 162 games in a regular season. He never once played a full regular season. He only hit 160 games one time in 19 years. Most of the times he was playing 145, 150, 155 games a year. He was in the lineup all the time. But even he got a couple of off days, whether it was slumps, whether it was injuries, whether he just needed a day of rest, he got some off time. And it worked out pretty well for him. Chipper Jones is in the Hall of Fame, and the Braves with Chipper Jones won 14 straight division titles and a World Series. Neither of those things has Freddie Freeman done yet. I'm not saying it won't happen, but he has not done it yet. And once again, I like Freddie Freeman. I respect that work ethic. I want my players in the lineup every day. I'm not advocating for players in the middle of the season, you know, stepping out, taking a 2-week vacation, sitting on the beach in Tahiti. I'm saying, hey, if you're hurt, if you are in a big time slump, maybe you need a day off. Maybe you need 2 days off to reset. And you shouldn't be getting impaled in the clubhouse by Freddie Freeman. That's just odd to me. Why? Get your rest, dude. Get your rest. You've probably already heard this example. It was a national example last year and it's been talked about on some of the bigger networks and such. But last August, Joey Votto and the Cincinnati Reds were left for dead. The Reds had a bad losing record and Votto was struggling to even hit 200. And the Reds manager, David Bell, sat him down, said, Joey, we're gonna sit you for a couple days. You need to reset. So Votto sat out the next 3 games, and since then has been on a tear. Since then, you know, and that's carried over into this season. Every once in a while he gets a couple of days of rest here and there too, but most of the time he's in the lineup pretty much every day. And he's been on a tear. He reset, he changed some things. He sat back and thought about it and said, you know what, I've got to change some things. He was able to reflect and kind of gather everything together. You don't have that opportunity when you play every day. Oh, and the Reds made the playoffs last year after that. So I'm not advocating for players to go out and take days off all the time. I believe they should earn their money. Freddie Freeman absolutely earns his money, but he should not be setting some sort of negative energy around having the occasional off day. Ozzie Albies has only had a couple of days off all year long, and Freddie apparently encouraged him to get back in the lineup, almost pushed him back in the lineup after he fouled a ball off his leg and sat out a couple of games because he was hurting. Things like that. It's just weird to me that Freddie even has that kind of influence. I know he's a clubhouse leader, but Brian Snitker, that lineup card is his. No one else should have any say over it, and what he says should absolutely go. That is the law. Your manager is the guy, and I'm old school in that regard. You listen to your manager. But I'm new school in the fact that if you need a day off, you probably should be given a day off. Let's hope that the Atlanta Braves, who are only a couple of games up in the division right now, have enough steam and don't get tired the rest of the way.